Morning everyone, it's Pierre speaking. It is Tuesday morning, it's the 18th of April 2017. It's the first day of trading for me. However, last night I already posted there in the forum some trades that can set up, and one already triggered. I think it was the Aussie JPY. I'll show you just now. Starting off with the Euro US dollar 4-hour chart. If you look at the direction indicator, everything here shouts at us to look for shorts. The 4-hour, the daily, the 54 is underneath the 55. We're under the 200 EMA. However, last week we closed 26 pips higher than the opening. So we're not going to flip this one this week. I will have a look at this. Just purely at the chart, we've got a 55 EMA in this area, a 200 EMA, and a weekly pivot point slightly higher. If we look to the left of the chart, previous support resistance, we can also see that we might be in a triangle on this one. Look at that. Okay, the bias is the short, guys. As long as we stay underneath these 200 EMAs, or the 200 EMA there, the 55 and the weekly pivot point, previous support resistance, the bias will be to look for shorts. So keep your eyes on that one. Euro JPY 4-hour chart. Everything here shouts to look for shorts. 4 hours red, daily is red. Last week we had a big tumble. We closed 277 pips lower than the opening. So we can flip previous week from the high of last week to the low that we've got. Then we've got a zone starting at 116.46 going up to 117.26. Currently, price is finding resistance here at the 34 EMA psychological level and a weekly pivot point. So there can be a possible roadblock there for possible entry to short. If we look to the left of the chart, previous support resistance, and if you add a 38.2 FIP, then that most likely will hold hands with this as well. If we do break to the upside, then keep your eyes in the Earth and Sky trading zone at 116.59, where the 55 EMA is for possible shorts. If that do break for some reason, next line in the sand, psychological level of 117, weekly pivot point at 117.04. But for now, 115.94 will be key, and we must see if we will find resistance there. Euro pound 4-hour chart. This one also, everything shouts that we need to look for shorts, so we can flip previous week from the high to the low. We've got a zone 8503 going up to 8529. In the zone, we've got a 55 at 8506, a 200 EMA at 8516, weekly pivot point, previous support resistance. So these three levels here at the 55, the 200 and the weekly pivot point in the Earth and Sky trading zone will be my areas to look for shorts. If price do make new lows without a pullback, guys, please follow it with your FIP so that the Earth and Sky trading zone will then adjust. Possible counter trades, I will only look at 8432. Can you guys spot MACD divergence here? That's telltale signs that there's a correction coming. So take note of it, but remember it will be counter trade. Pound US dollar 4-hour chart. Here, everything on the 4-hour tells us to look for longs. The daily is mixed. Last week we closed 163 pips higher than the actual opening of the previous week. We can flip the week from the bottom of last week to the high that we've got this week. Then we've got a zone starting at 2488 going down to 2427. In the zone we've got a 200 EMA and a 55 EMA. So look for possible look for possible support areas there. Look at this level here, guys. 2509 is where the 55 EMA is. There's a psychological level, there's a weekly pivot point. So keep that in mind for possible support for a long. If that breaks, keep your eyes on the 200 EMA and the 55 EMA on this. Now this one is busy dropping. I think we missed this. We need to wait for a pullback maybe to get into a short on this one now. Pound JPY 4-hour chart. Yes, guys, while I'm making this video, trades are setting up. Look at this. Flip from the top to the bottom. Everything tells us to look for shorts. We close 186 pips lower than the opening. We've got a zone 136.92 going up to 137.59. In the zone, psychological level, 55 EMA, boiling a band. Look to the left of the chart, previous support resistance, and price is busy finding resistance there. Let's just quickly have a look at the 1-hour chart. Look at this. This is what I want, guys. Once price get into that Earth and Sky trading zone areas, key hotspots, then you drop down to a 1-hour chart and you look for that MACD divergence. We do have the MACD divergence, so the trade can set up here. Aussie US dollar 4 hour chart. I'm sitting on my hands with this one. 4 hour tells us to look for shorts. Daily tells us to look for shorts. Last week we closed 72 pips higher than the opening. Now last night when I posted in the block, price closed on the other side of this 200 EMA. But I told you guys that I'm not happy with longs there. My thinking is that we can break to the downside here. And there might be an inverted head and shoulder pattern. Look at that. Left shoulder, head area, right shoulder. But in any case, it looks like an inverted head and shoulder pattern. And after the write-up last night, we had this move here. Remember, it's correlated with the Aussie JPY 4 hour. What happened on this one? We also had a short zone. We had to flip from the high to the low. In the zone, 82.79 going up to 83.25. Look at this. Price came into the zone, touched the 55 EMA. Look to the left of the chart, previous support, resistance, and then the drop. So this is the Earth and Sky one that already triggered. Now I think Crosby in the forum took this one already. So let's see how I got in there. Let's look for MACD divergence. Price was trending up. No MACD divergence. The MACD was high, but stochastic was overbought. Look at the candle formation there after we touched the 55. 30-minute chart. Let's go there. That was the entry there. Although we dropped quite far out of the zone, we had a cross, but let's place a trend line. See, we had two entries. This one was the second one, but we were quite far out from the zone already. But look, where was the trend line break? If you took the trend line break, your stop would have been about 52 pips. This one already dropped 54. Main target for this one is keep your eye on the psychological level of 82. And then last week's low at 81.83 for that profit take areas. US dollar JPY 4 hour chart. Yeah, if we flip for a short zone, everything is shouting to short. Big drop last week. We closed 297 pips lower than the opening. So if we flip previous week from the high to the low, then we've got a zone 109.92 going up to 110.80. In the zone, we've got a psychological level, pivot point, previous support, resistance. However, before we get to the zone, let me just jump back so that my lines can come in here. We have at the 38.2 FIP, if you add it, yeah, at 109.41 weekly pivot point, the 55 EMA, if you add a 38.2 FIP, then that will be also in that area. So that will be our first roadblock for possible short setups on the US dollar JPY. US dollar CAD 4 hour chart. I'm sitting on my hands with this one, guys. Here price broke again through all the EMAs. We had a daily 55, a 4 hour 55, a 200 EMA, and price is not respecting that. I will re-look at this one. My bias on this one is not long at this moment, guys. I will re-look at it if we break all this for possible short setup back down to 3254. If we look at the US dollar index 4 hour chart, look at this, guys. Last week it was awesome. Price came, we broke an important level. Look at this, price pulled back to that level, loads of EMAs, awesome M2 trade. And if you flip that, that was very close to the 50% flip there. Now we in the new week, so we can still use previous week's high flip from the high to the low. Mixed on a daily, 4 hour tells us to short. So if we do that, then we've got a zone starting at 167. Going up to 101.01. Before we get to the trading zone, we've got a cluster of EMAs there, a 55, a 200, the weekly pivot point, daily 55, Bollinger Band coming down, previous support resistance, and that is what we want. Multiple reasons. So that will be the obvious area between 150 and 162 to look for possible short setups on that one. Now let me go and try and edit out the dog barking in this video. Have an awesome one. Cheers.